Thanks for joining me again, Michelle Hahn at MomBoss Academy on the show MomBoss Show. And today I have with me Shelly Longenecker. Is that the right way to pronounce your name? So Shelly, sorry?
Longenecker.
Longenecker, yeah. Yep. Shelly Longenecker is an author, speaker, coach who helps moms manage the finances through their grocery bills. Is that right? Okay,
that is, yeah.
Yeah, why don't you tell our audience a little bit more about yourself, Shelly?
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm super honored to be one of your guests. I am so impressed by you and your brand and everything you have going on. So I'm pinching myself a little bit to be here with you. So thank you for having me. Yeah, a little bit about myself. I've been married for 23 years and we have 4 kids.
Wow.
Our kids are 6, 9, 16, and 19. So
wow.
We have had small children for like 700 years at our house. Yes, our youngest one is finally in kindergarten, and so that's exciting. We finally don't have small children anymore, which is great. And when she entered kindergarten, I had been the stay-at-home parent for almost, 17 years. I had been the stay-at-home parent. I had always done little things on the side, some side gigs and things like that, but we homeschooled between 2 and 4 of our kids, and my husband runs his own business completely. We're totally self-employed. And so there had to be one parent who was taking the weight of getting kids to school and getting them home and homework and all of those things. And I did that. But when my youngest entered kindergarten, I looked at my husband and I said, I'm ready to do something outside of the home.
Yeah.
And so I took some time and brainstormed, and I decided to launch Dinner for $1 because, well, several reasons. One, I have a huge passion for helping people eat well. We have health crises across the globe. People are living with chronic diseases that are preventable through good diet and good healthy lifestyle. And we also have financial crises. People are in debt. They aren't saving for retirement. They don't have money in their savings account. And I don't know what the statistics are in Singapore, but in the US, only 16% of people are saving adequately for retirement.
That's scary, isn't it?
So that's 84% of people aren't even putting aside, 15% for retirement. And something like only 30% of people have $1,000 in their savings account. So they haven't even saved $1,000. And you and I both know, I don't know how currency exchanges and all of that work globally, but everyone needs to have the equivalent of $1,000 at least in a savings account, because you're going to get a flat tire. Your little kid is going to get sick and can't go to daycare, and then you can't go to work. You're going to get a roof leak, and
some buffer, in case something hits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I had thought about being a financial coach, but I really didn't feel like I had anything new to add to the world. I didn't think I had anything new to say, but I realized I had been feeding my family a whole food, produce-rich diet that was allergy friendly for $1 per person per meal for years. And I had people all the time in my regular life, my friends, family, asking me, how do you do that? Yeah. How do you feed your family for $1? Because they know we're allergy free. They know we eat whole food, and they know we eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. And they're like, no one else could do that. And so that was when I looked at my husband and I said, you know what? I think I have a tiny little superpower here where I know how to eat well on a very tight budget and a very tight schedule.
Yeah.
And for me, it isn't enough to just cut my grocery bill. I also want to cut the amount of time and energy I'm spending on food.
Yes.
Because, and I think most people can relate to the time challenge even more so than the money challenge.
Yeah.
And I had figured out, I take about an hour on the weekend, and then we have dinner, fresh, whole food dinners on the table in 15 minutes, Monday through Friday. And anyway, so I have a huge passion for helping people eat well, but I know that people have a tight schedule and they have a tight budget. And those are the two biggest obstacles to people eating well. They think they don't have time or they don't have money, so they can't eat well. So they have to get takeout or convenience foods. And then they're not hitting their food goals or their money goals. And so that was when I sat down and I thought, well, how about I tell the world what we do? And so that I can help other people, beat chronic disease and get money in their savings account and start saving for retirement, all by changing just their food life. So that's what I do.
That's like, when I came across what you do, kind of like my ears perked up. Like, oh, I really want to learn what she does. And especially like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Singapore, we don't produce our own food. So most of the food are imported in. Of course, we get fresh food, but it's probably like at least a day old, from Malaysia or some places like that. And Whole Foods, like, just talk to me about, just, for moms who, because in Singapore, it's really easy to get takeaway food for really cheaply. It's not very expensive. So a lot of people eat out a lot of the time, but not healthily, I would say, right? Because a lot of it is very carb-based, very little vegetables, and processed. So just explain the concept of produce-rich whole foods, and that's what sometimes we don't really care about what we eat. It's what we feed our children, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm reading a book right now that is really good. It's got a very alarming title, and it's called How Not to Die. And this is written by a doctor who studied all of the research in the world that looked at the 15 most chronic diseases that are killing the deadliest diseases, that are the 15 deadliest diseases. Sorry, I've never shared about this, so it's just what I'm reading personally. Anyway, he goes through the top 15 killers of people. And what can we do to not die from heart disease? What can we do to not die from diabetes? What can we do to not die from, stomach cancer? Anyway, so what I was shocked to learn is that they are now seeing that by the age of 10, children are already having the markers for chronic diseases that are going to kill them when they're 50 or 60.
Oh.
And so in the book, it said, the question, if you are over the age of 10 and reading this book, the question isn't whether or not you already have the markers, it's how bad is it already? And so the whole book is about capturing our children and changing our habits right now as adults so that we can set our children up so that they're not dying in their 40s and 50s from heart disease because they already, at the age of 10, are already having high cholesterol.
Right.
And anyway, so I totally agree with you. Sometimes we won't make changes for ourselves, but we can make changes right now in our families' lives that will prevent our children, that will lower the risk of our children dying from heart disease when they're 40 or 50.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and I find that there's this I don't know, I just see more kids hitting puberty earlier, and I think that has to do with the food that they consume.
Yeah. And I don't know about that. I actually haven't read the research on that, but I my own self as a mom at home looking at things, I definitely think that's related. So yeah, and here's why we chose a whole food produce rich diet in our home is because we have a couple of autoimmune diseases in our family. And the research is very solid that avoiding processed foods and eating a lot of fruits and vegetables lowers your inflammation markers so that your autoimmune disease can just kind of calm down, right? And so I'm not a health expert or a medical professional, but the research on that is totally crystal clear so that I can say that because it's been proven factually by even very mainstream doctors. So this isn't like naturopathic people who want you to wave fig leaves in the air and your diseases will go away, right? This is mainstream medicine. And so I know that by helping people solve the time and money problem and be able to get whole food on their table, to be able to get more fruits and vegetables on their table, I'm helping them prevent future.
So let's get into formula. Let's get into a formula. And I'm sure that our audience is like, okay, I get it. We need to eat healthy. So how can I do it? How can I do it?
Yeah. So, well, let's see. Do you want me to talk about the time part? Yeah, probably the time part.
In Singapore, like it's easy to eat out. And I think a lot of our audience, of course, we want to know how we can save money, but most time.
Yeah. Because you're talking to women who are busy professionals and raising young families and
having business of their own, and we're really time strapped. Yeah,
absolutely. And we are too. So I run my own business. My husband runs his own business. We have 4 school-aged children, and we homeschool 1.5 of them. One's almost done, and then 2 are in school. So we have 2 kids at school, 2 kids at home, 2 businesses at home. So I feel you big time on the time thing. So let me tell you, when people hear that I get fresh whole food dinners on the table in about 15 minutes, Monday through Friday, they're like, tell me how to do that. So I'll just share my secret with you. Okay. So what I do is I take about 1 hour on the weekend, usually on Sunday, because that works best for our family. And I try to do it at a time when my husband is home, so that he can either help with the kids or he can help with the food prep. And then early on in our home, we have our children help in the kitchen. And that's important for a lot of reasons. It prepares them for life. It also, keeps them from feeling entitled, like we're their servants. They live here, and so they need to participate in the home. And so when on Sundays, I use the kids who are under 8 to fetch ingredients and wash and scrub and peel. And then kids who are over 8 start learning to use knives. And then my teenagers can cook anything. My 18-year-old hosted a dinner party for 20 people and did all the cooking. And she did it for $1 per person, because she knows how to cook. Anyway, so
I
use help. I use my family to help me out. So we take about an hour on the weekend, and what we do is we cook one meat. Our families in Singapore, are a lot of them vegetarian or vegan, or not really? They most eat meat.
Not really.
Okay.
The plant-based diet is catching up, but I wouldn't say it's a priority.
Yeah. So we're not plant-based in our home, but we try to be plant-forward. We try to be veggie-forward, meaning meat sort of on the side and veggies taking up half of our plate. That's our goal.
Yes.
Yeah. So what we do, we cook one meat on the weekend, but we cook a lot of it. So we have a family of 6. So let's say that most people eat ground beef here in the US. We have kind of a beef sensitivity, so we use ground turkey. Okay, so I'll cook 9 pounds of ground turkey on Sunday all at once in a big pan. Giant pan of meat. And then I take that, and then I also cook the starches for the week. So any beans, rice.
Sorry, can I hold you right there? So when you say you cook 9 pounds of ground turkey at the same time, how do you cook it? Like you steam?
So I have a roaster pan. I'll send you a link later that you could attach to this. It's like a mini oven that we plug it in outside, because we live, I don't know how hot Singapore is, but I live in the desert of the US. We're hot. We're super hot too. So we plug it in outside, so it cooks outside and doesn't heat up our house. So I cook like 6 to 8 servings of meat, whatever your family size is. And then I cook extra starches. So starches that we eat in our home, because we're gluten-free and we're dairy-free. So we don't eat, breads or anything like that, pastas, right? So we cook up beans, we cook up rice, we cook up potatoes or sweet potatoes. We cook those all at the same time. And then we chop up the veggies that we're going to use for the week. And then we store our veggies. Do you guys have mason jars in Singapore? It's a brand name mason jar. It's like for canning, like a canning jar.
Yeah, I think we do. I've heard of it.
It's not very popular.
So yeah, okay. Mason jar.
So
we're Singapore. We can ship everything in here.
Okay, I'll send you a link of that too.
Awesome, thank you.
So I store my vegetables in canning jars, and they will last for 5 days in a canning jar. And when you pull them out on the 5th day, they're just as fresh as when you put them in there. Because of how canning jars are made to preserve the food, I don't know. They stay
packed and things like that.
Yep, they stay totally fresh.
Awesome.
So we chop all our lettuce for the week, all of our onions for the week, cucumbers, bell peppers. The only things we don't chop ahead are tomatoes. Those don't last. They last like a day. And avocados. Those also only last. And I think everyone probably already knows that. So then what I do is I take those core ingredients and I mix and match those and create different meals each week with them and each day. And because they're pre-cooked, I'm really just mixing them in and kind of heating them up. So for instance, the ground turkey or ground beef, that week I will take and I'll have a spaghetti meal. We use spaghetti squash instead of noodles. We'll take and make a vegetable soup with the meat in it. We'll use it and make some sort of a taco salad. We live in the Southwest where we have a lot of Mexican food influences. We'll make a lettuce wrap one day out of the week with it. And then we do some type of a stir fry where we just throw a bunch of stuff in the skillet and cook it up and eat it. And then we also usually will do like a baked potato or a baked sweet potato. And then we put the meat and a whole bunch of veggies on top of it and eat it. We don't put the sour creams and cheeses and all of those heavy things, making it, weighing it down and making it unhealthy. And so by doing that, we're able to put dinner, each of those things that I listed that I do with that ground turkey and those pre-cooked rice, pre-cooked beans, pre-chopped veggies, I get those on the table in just 15 minutes. And then I do that every week, Michelle, with different meats. And to keep from getting bored, so I do it with pulled pork, a pork roast. You can do it with a beef roast, whole chickens, and ham, stew meat, anything. And so what do we do to keep from getting bored? Because you might be thinking, I don't want to eat the same meat, all week long. Right. So it's less boring than you think, though. But what I do then is when I cook it on Sunday, right? So I save four meals of meat and I leave those out so that I can have that on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And I put the rest in bags in the freezer. And then on Wednesday, I go to the freezer and I pull out the extra meat that I stored the week before. Okay. So then I have a whole chicken, right? So I have that all pulled up and ready, and I can use that chicken in a soup. I can use it on a salad. I can use it in a stir fry. I can use it in a lettuce wrap. I can use it in a taco. And it's all ready to go. And when I changed to cooking like this, and we don't do this, 7 days a week. We do it 5 days a week to get us through the busy week, right? The busy work week. Because we realized, takeout in the US, so I don't know if these stats are true in Singapore, but when you eat out in the US, researchers have calculated that it's 3 times as expensive, 3 times the cost, 3 times the calories, also 3 times the salt intake, and 3 times the fossil fuels. So it's 3 times worse for your budget, for your waistline, and the planet. So maybe your listeners, don't care about their budget. They're happy to spend more. And maybe in Singapore, like you said, it isn't 3 times as expensive. But for our family, it costs us about $40 to eat takeout. Yep. And so, and that's a good deal. That's if we we're really disciplined and, found a cheap place. And for me to cook at home, it cost me about $6. So for us, that's 6-7 times as expensive. But it's also worse for the planet. and worse for our waistlines, for sure. We're getting heavier, and, you know, our cholesterol and blood pressure and all of that.
Yeah, you can't put money and time on health. I think that's well, at least to me, that's the number
Right.
one thing that I would really care about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Way more than the money. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so what I encourage people to do, because our family certainly, I'm sure, eats different than your family, and your family eats different from your listeners' families. And so what I encourage people to do when I'm teaching them this method is that they take a minute and sit down and think, okay, because maybe you don't use ground beef and you don't want chili or you don't want tacos or, you know, those kinds of things. Sit down and think about what meals does my family enjoy? What will they eat? What fits, you know, what we're able to find where in our local grocery or market, and make a list. Okay, we love chicken. Okay, so make a list with yourself. What 5 meals could I make Monday through Friday if I already had the meat pre-cooked, if I already had the veggies chopped up? And make a list. Okay, I would enjoy a soup. I would enjoy a salad. I would like a loaded baked sweet potato, you know, whatever you might enjoy with that. And then I encourage them to experiment with it. Try that. Take one Sunday and just do it with one meat, you know, cook one starch or 2 starches, and then, you know, chop up a bunch of fresh veggies, store them in mason jars. If you don't have canning jars available, then the vegetables will not last 5 days. They'll, even if you have like glass Tupperware, that'll only last, you know, a few days. So maybe you just chop, and then on Wednesday you take a little bit of time, maybe 30 minutes, and chop the veggies for the rest of the week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds cool. Okay, we're gonna switch gear a little bit and go into like the business side of things. So when we so when you first decided, okay, this is my thing, I'm gonna teach other mothers or families to eat healthier with you know, not a lot of money, then how do you then start your business? So is it like, I'm gonna write a book first, or how? Let me know.
Yeah. Well, so I could definitely tell you a few things of what not to do. And I bet you could do the same thing, huh? So I did not understand the book industry when I decided to launch this business. I thought, and you'll appreciate how funny this is because you've written a book. I thought, oh, if I just write a good book about a topic that people are interested in, because people do want to eat better, they want to save time, they want to save money, especially people with food allergies. So I thought, okay, I know that people want to learn this. And now I know I wrote a good book because I had a bunch of people review it. I had professionals review it. I won a big award for writing a good book. I thought, oh, if I just write a good book that people are interested in, it'll just sell.
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Right.
Okay, so you started with the book. So you're like, I have this idea, I'm going to put it all it out in the book, and then hopefully it'll come.
Yep, I made the mistake. I launched my book and my business at the exact same time.
Right.
So I had an email list of like 100 people, maybe not even that, maybe like 50. And I launched my book and my business in the same month. I took 4 months is all, Michelle. I wrote my book, I published it, and I launched my entire company in 4 months.
Good on you. That's great. But
so I was ready. I was like, I'm going. I'm just diving in. And so I learned by fire. I don't know if that's a phrase that translates for you guys.
You have the book and then you launched the business. And how were you planning to, or how are you currently monetizing it?
Yeah. So I have a complete marketing plan that's very thorough and is going amazing. But I didn't know that at first. So I launched it, and, you know, I sold some books, and then it just like stopped. And I'm like, okay, this isn't working. And so I hired a book coach for just a couple sessions. And I said, okay, I know I've written a good book. I know that people want to hear about this, but I can't get the word out. And she said, you need a marketing plan. I'm like, yes, I do. And so I got together with her and also a marketing expert and made a comprehensive marketing plan. And so I'm now monetizing. I have 3 streams of income right now. I have the book, I have public speaking, and I have coaching. The coaching part hasn't really taken off. I haven't focused on it at all. So I'm focused heavily on public speaking as my number 1 focus. And then the book I'm marketing casually, not casually, I'm very direct, but
I think it's part of your website and people could see it. They know that you're an author. They get what you mean. I think we all need a book to represent what's your message to the world.
Right.
That's amazing that you first come up with a book, because a lot of people think when they want to start a business, they just start a business and there's no message. There's no like special thing about you. How do you brand yourself, right? And
right, yeah,
you've got a book, and then now you're having all these speaking gigs, and tell me, so where do you speak and how do you get these speaking gigs?
Yeah, so speaking is amazing. I love speaking. I love public speaking. If I could just do that, I would be so happy. And, you know, research says that the greatest way to increase your income is by learning to be a public speaker and getting out there. And so there's definitely money in public speaking. This year, I'm not focusing on only paid gigs, although I am working some paid gigs, but I'm focusing on connecting with the right people so that I can expand my brand and then become recognized as an expert in my industry. And so this year, my goal is to speak as often as possible in the right audiences. And I don't need to focus on pay this year because I'm trying to grow my audience. My goal this year is to get to 10,000 emails on my email list.
Awesome.
That's my only business goal. Literally, I have one. And so every action.
The focus, right? The power of one instead of like, oh, I have this to-do list and goal. Good on you.
Every single action that I take is exclusively to accomplish that. And I have found that there is nothing that expands my brand like public speaking, because when people meet you, you know, they're a cold contact, but within 1 hour, they can go from a cold contact to a loyal fan in 1 hour. And how long does that take on social media? That takes months to turn somebody into a loyal fan. You know, they've got to listen to you 5, 6, 7, 8 times, you know, through quick clips and whatever else, but public speaking is direct. And so how did I get public speaking gigs? So I go about it a few ways. This is all new to me. So this is my year of focusing on it.
And how long have you been in business?
So I launched my business last October of 2019.
This is so all new.
Yeah. And I got cancer last year in April. So I launched my business in October. My book was fully published in January, and I got cancer in April. So, and then I had 7 months of chemotherapy and surgeries and craziness. That was, I'm good now. Yay! Yes, I'm in remission. And so yes, that was crazy. So I only got to build my business for October to April. And I was really sick 2 months leading up to my diagnosis. Of course, I had cancer and I didn't know it. And so I was having a hard time doing stuff. So I really had October, November, December, January, probably. I had about 4 months. And then I just finished treatment 2 months ago. So last month was my first January is my first full month back.
Yeah. And so this is what, 20?
I have 15 speaking engagements this month.
Oh, how many?
15.
In what? We only have what, 22 days into the year, and you've been speaking 15.
Yep. I just went crazy. I'm like, here we go. And so what I did is I sat down, and part of this is my branding and my marketing and making my plan. Okay, who is my target market, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so my brand has a few target markets actually, because I do talk about allergy-free eating to some audiences.
Yes.
So within the allergy-free eating, I have two sectors that I can speak to. I can speak to moms who have kids with food allergies. Yeah. And I also speak to medical professionals. So I've spoken at hospitals.
Yeah.
Helping doctors help their patients be able to afford eating well on a tight budget and a tight schedule. Okay, so that's one sector that I can speak to, right? Yeah. And then I can speak to just general moms, right? We're all trying to put dinner on the table. We're busy, right? So that's what we're doing right here. That's the message I'm giving you today. The busy mom group. That's what I'm doing today. I also speak to financial groups. So Dave Ramsey groups, or, budgeting, or, money saving mom types of groups.
Yeah.
Who are saving for retirement. I just spoke to a retirement planning group twice last week. And then I also speak in like health and nutrition groups. So fitness groups, health groups. And then lastly, I also speak to like homeschool mom groups, because I'm a homeschooling mom. And that's a special sector of busy mom. That's a different, it's the same message, but I can identify with that group. And so that's 5 different audiences that have 5 different needs.
Yes.
And so, I have a Trello board with my, all the different sectors that I'm trying to work in. And then I have contacts under each of those, and I pitch them. I reach out to people. Actually, you reached out to me, but I would have reached out to you and said something like, hey, I see that you have a podcast that serves busy moms. I can help people get dinner on the table in 15 minutes, Monday through Friday. Is that something your audience would be interested in? And that's it. That's the only message I send.
Yeah.
And then say, we love that. We want to have you. Or we just had an expert talk about that last week, last month. Can you reach back out to me in March? Well, then I would follow up and say, well, I also teach people how to save money on an allergy-free, whole food, produce-rich diet. Is that something you'd be interested in? Oh, we just had somebody talk to us 2 months ago. Okay, I'll follow up with you in March. And so in my Trello board, I have
that. Yeah.
I'll go with Susie in March with a little deadline, and I write all my notes in there. Here's what I pitched her, and this is what she said. And so then I can follow up. And so 60%, maybe 75% of my activity right now is pitching, following up, and doing interviews like this, because it's the strongest way for me to grow my audience.
Yes. And then at the end of your talk, or at the end of your interview, there'll be a CTA, a call to action to find out more about you, your website, and then they'll sign up for your list. Or so what do you send them? What's the opt-in?
That's what I was just gonna say. So I have I give away 1 chapter from my book. And that is my call to action, because I am a new author and people don't know me. And so I let people see a chapter from my book so they can decide, is this the good fit for me or not? And I don't want, just like you, I don't want people buying my book if that isn't the right fit for them.
Yeah. Yes.
And so, yes. So the free chapter that I give away is teaching people how to cook without recipes. Now, of course, I use recipes all the time, but learning how to cook without a recipe is actually a really important skill, because it helps you reduce waste and use up what you have. It helps you shop what's on sale and make something work with it, because recipes can really, what's that?
Just be creative. Just pull something out. Yeah. I love.
So I help people learn how to do that in my free chapter and why. And so, of course, because my only goal this year is 10,000 on my email list, I only have 1 call to action in every marketing message I put out there, and that's to sign up for my free chapter. And so that's my opt-in for every single talk that I give.
Awesome. That's great. I love it. And like Shelly's been very generous, like, in order to like opt in for just 1 chapter of her book. Yes, generously mailed or send me 3 copies of her book. I'm keeping 1 for myself.
Yay!
Sure. And I'm going to give 2 away to my audience. And for those of you who love this, just leave a like, drop me a message down below. And for a bonus entry, you can share this post on your IG story, and then we'll pick a winner next week.
That's fantastic. Thank you. And the book it's not just about saving money. It's about saving time, money, and energy on a whole food diet. So because I know time and energy is probably, like you said, Michelle, more important than money.
Yes.
For a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like that the little action.
Yes.
Thing, and there's like examples that how you do it as well. It's not just like, full on reading, there's action point. Yeah. Right. Loving it. Yeah, I just started on the first chapter. I got to know your story a little bit, and I think it's applicable to everyone. I think every mom would resonate at some point with the book. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me today, Shelly.
Thank you.
Very good evening. It's daytime for me. We're about to start the day, and it's nice to see you over there.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And for everything that we've spoken about today, we'll leave the links down below. And yeah, thank you again, and thanks for joining us. Okay, maybe we'll just end this with, if you were to give, I do this with all my interviews, if you were to give one advice to a mom who is starting out in her business, what would you say to her?
Oh man, I would say go for it.
Go for it.
Just go for it. You create messy action. Just learn by doing. And be honest with yourself and check your actions. If they're not working, tweak it. Find somebody who can help you. But if you're doing nothing, no one can help you. Yeah. Right? So I made a lot of mistakes by launching my book to no audience at all. But in the meantime, I created a book, I created a brand, I created a website, I created an entire marketing strategy that I learned and tweaked as I go. But no one can help you, and you'll never succeed if you're doing absolutely nothing. So I would just say, don't wait until you're perfect. Don't wait until your message is perfect. Don't wait until, whatever you're producing is perfect. Just, you have to start and then evaluate yourself weekly or at least monthly. Stop, take an hour, look at the actions that you took. Did those create the results you wanted? Okay, these things created great results. Great, let's pour some fire on that. These things created nothing. Great, let's tweak it or toss it out. Like I learned Pinterest, 0 traction on Pinterest for me. And any action that created people going to my site, they stayed for like 4 seconds on my site. My average time is 2 minutes on my site. Pinterest users were spending literally like 19 seconds or 4 seconds or.
Yeah, so that's not good. That's not working. No. Let's stop doing that and do what's what. Continue doing
right. And so, but that only comes by carving out a little bit of time, weekly or monthly, evaluating what you've done and then making adjustments, not in a shameful way, like, oh, I suck, my Pinterest numbers are terrible. No, just like, oh, that's not working.
Move on.
No big deal, because all success is built on failure. All of it.
Love it. Love it.
So you just have to fail. You have to fail more than everybody else.
Oh yes, that's how you win, right? If you don't try, then you win. So you need to first fail in order to win. Right.
Exactly.
I love it so much. Thank you so much, Shelly.
You're welcome.
See you next time. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us today.